Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
My startup was everything to me. I'd spent years developing a sustainable energy harvesting technology, and the next step was building a specialized R&D studio. I'd inherited a beautiful, secluded plot of land from my grandfather, completely paid off, clean title. It was the perfect spot for an off-grid studio, a testament to my vision. Enter Brody Thorne, owner of TerraForge Solutions. Brody was a charismatic, smooth-talking visionary who promised to deliver a state-of-the-art, eco-friendly research facility. His designs were breathtaking, his pitch even more so. I secured a substantial construction loan from Prairie Trust Credit Union, and Brody and I shook hands on what I thought would be the foundation of my future. That handshake quickly turned into a stranglehold on my dreams. Construction began, and so did the problems. The foundation developed hairline cracks almost immediately. The custom-designed solar array, meant to power everything, was wired so incompetently it was a fire hazard. The water reclamation system leaked, flooding the subfloor where delicate prototype equipment was meant to sit. Specialized climate control systems were installed backwards, blowing hot air in the summer and chilling the lab in winter. Structural beams were misaligned, threatening the integrity of the entire building. It wasn't just cosmetic. This was fundamentally flawed, jeopardizing not only my investment, but the safety of my entire project and my life's work. I pleaded with Brody. He'd offer glib excuses, blame his subcontractors, then vanish for weeks. The credit union, represented by a stern loan officer named Lena, seemed more interested in getting me to sign off on progress payments than in the glaring deficiencies. They threatened me with defaulting on the loan, claiming I was being overly particular. I was trapped, watching my future crumble, my mental health deteriorating under the stress. Desperate, I sought legal counsel. Tanya Roshan was an attorney specializing in environmental and property law, known for her sharp mind. I laid out the whole catastrophic saga, feeling utterly defeated. Tanya listened, her expression initially grim, sifting through my contracts and photos. She nodded slowly, then paused, her eyes widening slightly. "Tell me again about the land," she asked, a glint forming in her eye. "You said you inherited it, free and clear, before you sought this construction loan." "Yes," I confirmed. "Grandpa left it to me. It's been in our family for generations. The loan was solely for the building itself." Tanya's face broke into a slow, knowing smile. "Brody Thorne," she said, "and Prairie Trust Credit Union have made a very fundamental, very expensive mistake." The next week brought us to a high-stakes meeting in the credit union's sterile conference room. It was me, Tanya, Brody with his equally slick lawyer, Gerard, and Lena with Prairie Trust's corporate counsel, Marcus. The atmosphere was thick with tension, Brody still trying to intimidate me with threats of breach of contract. Tanya wasted no time. Before anyone could launch into pleasantries or accusations, she placed a thick, leather-bound folder on the polished mahogany table. From it, she produced a single official document, my land deed. She slid it across to Marcus, then to Gerard. "My client," Tanya announced, her voice calm but firm, "no longer desires this defective, dangerous structure on their property. As you will see from this deed, my client owns the land outright. Therefore, this building, as it stands, constitutes trespass." Silence, utter, deafening silence. Brody's cocky grin vanished. Gerard picked up the deed, his eyes scanning the official stamps, then snapping to Brody, a silent accusation in his gaze. Marcus snatched the deed from Gerard, his face turning an alarming shade of purple. He turned on Lena. "You didn't verify the land ownership when you financed the construction. You only put a lien on the structure." Lena stammered. The forms were filled out, we assumed. It was a construction loan, not a land purchase." Tanya leaned forward. "As I said, gentlemen, you are trespassing on my client's land. I expect this structure to be immediately dismantled, removed, and the land returned to its original state. Failing that, we will pursue significant damages for trespass, environmental remediation, and the catastrophic impact on my client's business." She added, almost as an afterthought, "And of course, any equipment or materials remaining on the property after a designated period will be considered abandoned and disposed of at our discretion." The fallout was immediate and spectacular. Prairie Trust Credit Union couldn't foreclose on a building that sat on land they didn't own, a building that was now legally declared a trespass. They stood to lose the entire loan amount they'd already disbursed to Brody. Brody, on the other hand, was now on the hook for the entire cost of tearing down his shoddy creation, disposing of the waste, restoring my land, and likely repaying Prairie Trust for the initial funds. His visionary, firm, TerraForge Solutions was facing ruin. Suddenly, I was the valued client. Lena, now meek, apologized profusely. Brody's lawyer, Gerard, looked like he wanted to throttle his client. The credit union swiftly agreed to my original demands. Brody's firm would rebuild the studio from scratch, this time under constant, independent inspection at his own enormous expense. They brought in a completely new project manager and certified, reputable subcontractors. The credit union also renegotiated my loan terms, offering a significantly lower interest rate and waiving all prior fees as compensation for my distress. Brody Thorne's firm collapsed within 6 months. The cost of the rebuild, the reputational damage, and the likely legal ramifications from Prairie Trust were too much. I heard he declared bankruptcy and effectively disappeared from the industry. My R&D studio was eventually completed, perfectly built on schedule and exactly to spec, a true marvel of sustainable design. And my startup, it's thriving, a testament to resilience, innovation, and the sweet, sweet taste of justice. My life's work was saved, and the man who tried to ruin it lost everything. Some lessons are learned the hard way.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.